Hello, and welcome back to another Creating a Compiler from Scratch recreationally. I started working on the Lexer as if it was the start of episode 2, and I forgot, oopsie, to turn on my microphone, and so I figured, hey, while I'm doing this, I'll turn on my camera and see if we like having the camera on for these, because, personalization and stuff. We really want to have that audience connection for retention. I don't care. If we don't like the camera on, we'll turn it back off later. But we're going to try it because I got a cool camera layout here that I can look at on my screen over there. Whoa, cool. So what I did in the Lexer while I wasn't talking to you guys was not a lot. We got to the point where we can read single characters out of here with a bit of preprocessing going on. That, not like real preprocessing, I'll explain in a second. We've got a couple of predefined stuff up here. Is space, is digit, is alpha numeric, is hex digit, and the ability to get a digit value out of a character, which will also handle the hex case. So little stuff that we're going to need to make our life easier when we're starting to read tokens. Pre-declare a couple of are we at the end of the file, go to the next character, including any preprocessor shenanigans. Peek without the preprocessor so we can see what the exact next character is without doing extra logic. We will need that. And the ability to read a token here. So we, I think, left off with this primer, except for this Lexer Advanced bit here. Be at the end of episode 1. And I started implementing things, basically. So we can skip a backslash in C. If you have a backslash followed by a new line, the rest of the line over here is as if it were on the previous line. The preprocessor just deletes this construct. So you can see that this is even like the next line's a comment. The same thing works everywhere. That's how you get multi-line macros to work. So let me minimize this. I keep looking at my OBS and that is not going to look good on camera. So that's handled here. This will lex a single instance of a backslash plus a new line. I don't know if this is standards compliant, but it handles backslash n as well as rn, as well as nr. So every combination that you could have for a single line feed on any platform, it handles, which might not be technically standards compliant. I'll look into it later if it causes issues, but I think this is fine. It'll return true if it consumes one and false otherwise, so that we can throw it into loops like this that just say, hey, while it exists, do it. As soon as it returns false, it stops reading those new lines, and we're good to go. So the next thing we did was read character, basically, which is going to implement the quote-unquote preprocessor part. The preprocessor is responsible for removing comments. That wasn't a language feature back in the day. It was a preprocessor feature. So C has... it was eventually updated to support C++ style comments, but I'm pretty sure the standard still says that comments are a preprocessor feature. We're doing that in the read next character set here. Comments are going to be translated into the space character, and we may be able to extract text out of these and attach it to tokens later as trivia. Should we desire to do so, it'll be relatively trivial, pun intended, I guess, to extract the text out of what we've parsed here and just store it into a trivia table that we attach to the next token. We don't need to worry about that right now. That's for like documentation and language server stuff, which we don't care about right now. We're just trying to get it to work. But this is where that'll go. So we've got line comments, we've got block comments, and we're handling the new line plus the backslash plus new line thing. And if any of that fails, we just return the current character, and I think what I forgot to do is increment it. So what we really care about here is car result, and it's not a car, it's an int result, return result, increment the thing. So what we should probably do to make sure I did this correctly is say long start position, or rather const car start equals Lexer the current, and we can just, after we read it, assert that start does not equal to, and we can even be a little bit more and say start is less than Lexer current. And the current, I think, is something I implemented in the missing episode now as well. Instead of having a position, we're just storing the current position and end position as pointers that are directly in the source buffer here. And we'll just increment this pointer to the next character for every character, rather than tracking and indexing every time. It's a little bit more manageable for this kind of Lexer, I think. I haven't done a full bug-free Lexer with this yet, but it looks like it's pretty good. So this should get us reading another character, and the reason we have this separated between advance and reading a character is because we'll want to have a peak that does do this processing later, and it's just slightly easier to backtrack without forcing it to store this character every time. So we wrap it in advance. Advance gives us the current character into the lexer, but the actual implementation of read next character just returns it without modifying the lexer beyond moving the current position. Slightly better for the future, I think. We haven't implemented diagnostics yet, so it's basically, do we want to implement diagnostics before or after reading tokens now, is where we're getting at here. If we want to start doing tokens, we just got to populate this switch case with all the common cases, and we can go make a test file. If we want to do diagnostics, then we're putting off doing the lexer again, and I did just remove you guys accidentally from writing the lexer because of my microphone not being plugged in. So that's where I left off before I realized that I didn't have a mic. Do we want to do diagnostics? We can do diagnostics pretty simply if all we care about is immediately report an error. So we might want to go ahead and do that. Make a diagnostic header file in Laye. We're just going to call it diag.h if and def Laye diagnostic diag h. I'm not using the full word, that is too long. Define it. Cool. Then we want to type def a struct for Laye diagnostic. Do I really want a Laye diagnostic struct? It makes packaging up information and sending it off to a function a bit easier. And if we ever want to nest diagnostics, then we're going to want it. But if we're just going to print a diagnostic and then move on, we really don't need this. So hold on, let's think here. Do we need a diagnostic header? I'm going to say we do for enums. Type def enum Laye diagnostic severity. It's always a good word. And we're going to come in here and say Laye severity info warning error. And we might have a fatal in here for like compiler exceptions. So then, for the time being, we might not actually need anything else. We can just go into context. We can include our diag header, and we can write a diagnostic handler in here by just saying void Laye context issue diagnostic. We do want access to the context because we're going to have to look up source information. So we want to put it on the context object. So we're going to take the context. We then want the severity, so Laye diagnostic severity. We then want the location, so Laye location. We then, do we want anything before the format? I don't think so. I think now I want the const.char format and varargs. We're not going to do any fancy custom formatting, so now we can come over here and say issue a compiler diagnostic. This will be printed to the standard. I want to say standard error. I really want to put it in standard error, but again, we might want to remove standard error and standard IO, or not standard IO, standard in, standard out from our header file for simplicity. So let's just say this will be printed to the standard output for now. Good enough for me. So all of that needs to happen. We're going to do a relatively simple version. I have a template for a much nicer looking, and maybe I just go off stream real quick and implement it, or maybe I pull it up, because it's going to be, I think, I could pull it from this one, or I have, let me open up a new one on this side of the screen, because I know where it is. I just don't want to be in my file system on camera. Yes, I know, Monokai Pro, it's great. Where is... That is not how you spell that. I think it was that one, actually. It was over there. Open that folder. believe here is where I had that template. So I might do a subset of this template. I'll do something simple, and I might do that off screen, because there's a really nice diagnostic printer, but I don't really want printing diagnostics to take forever and then debug that. So let's go put this in the context.c. I really need to be using my command palette a little bit more here. We can close that so that I'm more motivated to use it even. And if we're closing it, we can go ahead and throw like some header files on the right here. And then I can close it and I've got a bit of space to work with. So we will do that. So in order to print a diagnostic, we're going to want printf to take in, we're going to have a, the problem with this not being a macro is now I have to support VA list. Right, I need a VA list, VA start format, AP format. I forget which order it is because we're not including it, and VA end AP needs to happen. I have extra code over here. It's AP format. It is. Okay. So implementing VA list. I know it's not defined, but I can still navigate to it. Car pointer. Beautiful. Car pointer VA list. That's all that matters. That's all that matters on my system, at least. So I'm going to go steal a couple of these. Let me make a new file here to do that. What does VA start look like? It has no idea. Can I find VA start in here? Where is the... Is that just not declared anywhere in this file? It might not be. It might be in a different file because we're not in standard arg. It might just be declared in standard arg and then it references this. This is the kind of thing I would have to start implementing on my own for my own header. I know that. The real question is, okay, so can I find include standard arg? Can I find that from here? Okay, so then it just defines it as CRTVA start arg and end. We shouldn't need copy for our purposes, right? I'm just trying to do like the minimal what we need here. So if I do a new one, we paste this in here, we say if and def YSE standard arg h, then define that, and if that. So that gets us there. Then we're just going to do if win32, do the exact same thing win32 is doing. Oh, that's how you do that. Today I learned. We'll have to change that later. We're going to implement our own header files eventually, but not right now. Now we can save this. That's not where I want to save it. I'm just going to copy that, don't save. We're going to enter here so I don't have to think about it. New file, standard arg.h, paste, save, close. Cool. VA copy technically we need. And you know, for C or for Windows, it's easy. So fuck it. Standard arg will include it. Just for completeness. We don't need anything else out of this for now, so long as this works. So let's see if including standard arg actually compiles. Standard arg.h finds the header. It doesn't hate me here. No immediate dying. It doesn't like VA start, but that might just be the LSP. So then all we need to do here is printf the format to the VA. So it needs to be vprintf. So we need vprintf to exist somewhere. I might have to hit build and have it give me the signature just so that I don't mess that up as well. It's looking for Sterling. Oh, I never implemented Sterling. I gotta go do that. And those are old. right? Those are all old. Let me just CLS build. Non-void function, return a value, that's fine. So strlen needs to be implemented, and it doesn't hate vprintf, but I don't think I've implemented vprintf. Hold on, standard IO. I've just done printf and fprintf. So if I do vprintf, that needs a VA list, right? So then I would need to include standard arg.h to get that VA list. I think. Then let's go do string.h to do... Oh, I do have strlen. Wait a second. Huh? Call the undeclared library function strlen with type unsigned long const char. Are we not including string in the lexer? We're not including string in the lexer. String. Then again, my build command here is not a native thing. It's just a script that I run. I can show you guys later if somebody wants to see it. What was I looking at? This is 33. Oh, we're just going to return 0 there. Then call to implicit VA start. Right, okay, so we copied that, but we don't have the implicit declaration. So let me go back to standard arg here, and can I find... I really don't want to copy the entire MSVC header. So we may have a problem. We may have to turn that into a macro somewhere, which I don't want to do. This is not C++. So this symbol exists somewhere. Let's do standard arg over here. We're going to find this symbol. This isn't even a symbol. It's void of VA start. So I think what that means... Hold on. Didn't we see these somewhere? I didn't even think that VA arg would be the problem, but I guess it is. VA start is there. So we can copy the declaration for VA start, and we can just call VA start like that. But it takes a VA list pointer, so we need to actually do this part, I guess. Like that. Right? I don't care about it that it's a cdecal, it's a cdecal, we know that. So that does its thing. So then what about VA arg? Interesting. Well, now I don't know which thing it's actually selecting. That's not good. Maybe I pause this and try a couple things. I don't know. I don't like pausing it, but I might have to sometimes. I don't know. If I grab this and we call this that, we're just going to see if this builds, maybe. VA end. So then I need to get VA start, VA end. I think the declarations are going to be correct no matter what. No problem there. They look fine. So it's just whether or not this builds. V8 CRT. Oh, A. The A might be the problem. So what about if I find this? It's just delegating to VA. Like that. Okay, what about this? Does this build? Huh? I know it worked that time, but give me just a second. I'm going to do a full clean anyway. Slot size of. Oh, because now I need address of, slot size of. Oh, boy. Address of. Oh, my God, C++. Address of. I'm going to put address of after our declarations here. Address of. Slot size of, a line of, and another address of. And then AP align. Oh my God. I can't wait to have to do all of this when we write our own headers. They're not going to be very good headers, but I am going to plan to do as much as I can for my own headers for the at least like 2 systems I plan to support. We'll see how many we can write. Probably not going to go well, but address of, slot size of, AP align, a line of, I think is the only one that's left. A line of, just a line of. How much you want to bet it's not defined in here? It's not. Can we find a line of? No definition found for a line of. Pragma once. Nothing, no other includes there. So if that's just not a feature, then we have to do our own align of as well, which shouldn't be a problem. Undefined symbol VA start. Oh no. Do I have to link with Windows here? That shouldn't be a problem. We are gonna do everything we can to not have to do this. We're gonna delete standard io.h. We can't yet support fprintf with our own headers, so we're gonna delete standard arg until I can be bothered to support that. What that means for us is we need to, hold on, context. Oh, the problems we're going to have to solve. Cancel. Save standard IO. So we're back to Lexer on the right here. Let me just open up context.h. So. I'm probably going to have a thing here that is going to be a thing. The only thing that needs to be VA'd here is the message. So we could have a preamble and a postamble, and then the message can be a macro that wraps this. So if I say preamble, and what is the opposite of a preamble? Hold on, we're gonna go look up some words. Opposite of preamble, because if it's just postamble, that's opposite of preamble. The opposite of preamble, a list of opposites, epilogue, postscript, addendum, afterword, appendix. I like epilogue. We're just going to say a prologue and epilogue. Epilogue and a prologue. Prologue and epilogue here. They're both going to take the location and the severity. The severity is probably not needed for the epilogue, just the prologue, but for some simplicity here. Then what we can do is define, and we're going to make it look like it's a function. I don't like all of my macros to be very clearly macros here. So just issue diagnostic is going to take in context, severity, location, format, and VA args. And then it's going to do something while 0. Hopefully this macro doesn't get too complicated because I really don't want to support complicated macros if I can avoid it. So what it's going to do is call the prolog with the context, the severity, and the location. It is also going to call the epilogue, right? And then what we want to do here is just call printf of format and va args, I believe is what it called, right? Va args, c va args, see if that's correct. Va args, okay. So I think that will get us, that means we have to support the va args macro if we're using this system instead of just printfing our diagnostics. We could also just not use the macro, call prolog, call epilogue manually. We'll see if we have trouble with this, because if we have trouble with it, we can easily factor it out. Hopefully, using va args in a preprocessor is not actually a problem, I guess. Okay, so now we can say Laye context issue diagnostic the way we want. So if we do the prolog here, and we cut all the fat out, we are going to do something very simple, and I'm probably going to just copy the prolog from here. Hold on. We need access to the source buffer eventually. Probably only for the epilogue, though. The prolog just needs to have, and we might not even print the epilogue now. We have to define it, but the epilogue is like source location, and we don't really need source location right now. So where do I want to steal my format from? I think this will be where. We're not going to do any colors yet. We're going to say fprintf, which should be in our thing somewhere. It doesn't say that it is, but it should be. Standard.io.h. We have vprintf. Oh, because I removed it. We want... No, we don't need fprintf, because that's for standard error. We don't need vprintf. That's what we don't need. Standard arg doesn't exist. Get rid of that. Okay, we're just going to printf. And the format we're going to printf is something with not a new line on it just yet, because then we're going to printf the message, the va args. So whatever this is needs to be the string, the line, the column, and that might even be it, other than the severity. That's what I'm looking for. So the severity is going to be mod s here? Really? Apparently that's the format that I'm used to. Oh, but then there's another colon. That's the format that we're used to. We'll insert color codes in here later if colors need to be supported. This is the format that we're looking for, though. So we want the file name. We're going to const char file name, which means we do have to look up the source buffer. So source buffer, and this is going to be source buffer name, context get source buffer for the location source ID. Let's throw some asserts in here while we're at it. Context should exist. The location, if the location source ID is less equal to 0, we're just going to not display anything for now. Then we can assert here that the source buffer has a name and text, ideally. It can be empty, but that's fine. So then the name will get printed first. File name. Then the location. Oh, this is where I need to have line and column information. Okay, hold on. I am probably going to copy an implementation of line and column information, because that's not fun to implement. It's not like it's hard, but I just don't want to do it. So this is going to become const char pointer source, which is then going to need to be, so then this line number will just be a long line number. The start and end offsets are both going to be long start and end offsets. We're going to assert that the source text. I'm just going to call it text instead of source. Right. And then assert that we can assign to everything. The line is long, long. Our start is a long, long. Our end is a long, long. Lock is actually location, because I like being a little bit longer here. That's fine. The location offset, no cast macro, long, 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 long. So then we want to just say, instead of source memory, we have text, and we need to know, not a whole lot actually, because the location is within the text, it should be at least. So then while line end is less, oh, that's where we want it. It should be a null terminated string though. So while, instead of while line end is less than source count, we can just say while text sublined end is not equal to 0. Sublined end, sublined end. Okay, not equal to 0 and not equal to new line. Right? That should get us line and column information. I don't think it is 1 based, I think it is 0 based. Line number, no, it's fine. Okay, so then what we can do down here is have a long, long for our line number. We can have a long, long for our line start offset and our line end, or our line end offset. And we're going to do some refactoring of our names here because I don't use this right now. We're doing underscores for this project. Line start offset and line end offset. Could not be located. Okay, so we'll just do our fancy DDD line end offset. I missed an O, I guess. Endo offset. That's not what I wanted. There's where the O went. So I don't know why I'm asserting line number and then checking it down here anyway. We don't need to assert any of those because they're only accessed at the very end. Okay, so then here we can just call get line from source on source buffer text, the location, a reference to line number, a reference to line start offset, and a reference to line end offset. So then from that, we're going to calculate our stuff. After the file name, we have the line number. Then we have 1 plus the location offset minus the line start offset. Then we have the severity string. So we're going to get a string version of the severity in a second here. Why doesn't it like this? It'll probably give us conversion warnings, so we'll do that in a second as well. We need Laye diagnostic severity to string. And we're just going to call that severity string when we get it. Const char severity string equals that. So this is a thing that we can go put in an implementation in just a second. Diag.h. This needs to return a const char, and it needs to take in a Laye diagnostic severity. Then we can, I don't remember how to switch between buffers, so I still got to use the mouse there for, we don't have a diag.c. So diag.c include diag.h. Do a switchy on a severity. If ever we fail, unknown, I cannot type severity. Do one of those, then case sev info. I don't know why I do that. Info, and then from here we have warn, error. Well, we fucked that up. It's fine. Fatal. There we go. So that's as easy as it needs to be for that. So then we've printed all of the fun stuff. And I guess the epilogue can go ahead and include a printf new line so that we don't have to put a new line in our format string for our diagnostics here. That can be the one thing the epilogue does for now. I have a lot more things the epilogue could do, and we'll get to making it pretty later. But for right now, we don't care. I think I need to pass the context here. I think that means we can build and see what other errors are worth fixing. Build. Just works. Okay. So do I have in my command history a call to this anywhere so I don't have to type everything? Let's see if there's any runtime errors. Cool. We're not calling the lexer yet, but we can go ahead and test a diagnostic. If I go into the driver, remove printing this thing, and I just say Laye context issue diagnostic for the context Laye severity of. Let's give it an info, then a location we don't have yet. So let's just say Laye location. Test location is going to have some data in it. We want .source ID equal to the source ID that we have. We want an offset equal to 0, and we want a length equal to, and we're reading, I think, the driver file. So we could say that the length is like 20, or the column is, we could say the column is, yeah, the length is just 20. I don't think we use the length yet, but we might use it later. So let's pass in test location, and then we can say things like, this is a test diagnostic, and we can pass in some numbers to make sure that everything works here nicely. Oh, that's a good point here. Is we're requiring there to be VA args here. So if I just pass in something at all times, oh, that sounds bad. How do I not require VA args? Because this comma is going to get in the way. If I delete the comma, I don't have a way of putting it back in. So I could be like mod s plus format and then always pass a string first, but then the string will be concatenated with any other string I give it, and there won't be a comma. So that doesn't work. I may have to go do some research. Let me pull up a brand new tab here. We're going to say C. I know you can't see this. It's just for safety purposes until I pull up my search. VA args, no comma if none. I don't know, 0? I don't know. There's no standard way to swallow the comma. MSVC swallows the comma automatically, and everything else uses an extension. Argument counting. Oh boy. Here's an argument counting trick that you can use. I don't know if I want to do that. What the heck is all this? So, standard compliant way to implement a second bar example. So, expands to the first argument then. So then, okay. So, So what is... Because 2 more comes from here. This would be a good stress test when we get around to implementing a preprocessor. So I'm not saying no, but what the heck? How do I use this for what I want? Because I still have to put a comma somewhere. Because rest expands to nothing. So I want the effect of rest, but also with first. Oh boy, we have really made a pain in the butt for ourselves here. Hey, haven't we? Adding it to the end? You can get away with that. I'm not using boost preprocessor, no. So I might just have to copy this thing or give up on my hope of making this a macro. We might have to go ahead and do this manually for a little while. Okay, we're going to plan on doing this manually until we can come up with a better solution. The flaws of me wanting to write my own header files. Oh my god. I mean, as soon as we can parse non-standard compliant C header files, we don't have to worry about any of this garbage anymore. But self-enforced restrictions go burr. So let's go to our lexer.c, and everywhere I have it to do, we have some diagnostics. So let's just diagnose some things. Issue a diagnostic prologue for the lexer context should exist, right? Yeah, lexer context. The severity is going to be an error, so Laye severity error. Then we need a location. So we need to be able to construct a location from the current character position, which we don't have anymore. Hold on. So we need to keep track of, because this could advance any number of places when we get a character out of it. So at start of line is fine. So if I want to... Oh, my brain, wow. Lexers are supposed to be trivial, but I'm not doing a good job of it. Static, Laye location. Laye C lexer get location. Here, Laye C lexer. I'm going to implement this, and we can copy paste it wherever it feels right. So we need to know the, instead of current, we can say current car location here, and we can use that to figure things out. Right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that and put it in our here. So where we have start, I'm actually going to go ahead and say lexer current character location. And then we can say, hey, is that less than the new current location of the reading of characters. So then we can say return a construction of this with dot source ID equal to lexer source ID. This is why we wanted to store the source ID. The length is going to be 1, and the offset is going to be lexer cur. It doesn't like this. Why not? Come on. You know you love me. Current car location minus lexer source buffer text, like that. That gives us the offset and the length. And we're not actually handling Unicode characters yet, so this will break. It won't break here, it'll break in the diagnostic printer because that's not handling Unicode characters, but we'll have to do that. So severity error, we want a get location for the lexer, and we want, let's go ahead and line break that because it's getting kind of long. Then we want nothing. We should probably store Laye location start location and move that like out here. So then we can just call back to our previous thing, change prologue to epilogue, and then fucking printf our error. That is going to be a pain in the ass, but it do be what it do be. So this was an error for invalid character in source text. And we don't need a new line. We're not going to print the character because we have no idea what it is. We're just going to point to it, and we're going to call it good. Invalid character in source text here. So then we can copy this whole shenanigans, and anywhere else we have a to-do now needs to be to-do'd. So let's generate a location. We're just going to call it location. I don't know why I'm trying to scroll up to copy some, like, there's spaces there? Anything special fancy here. We're just going to call it location. It's whatever location we're currently at. It is going to point to the wrong location, though. I really have put myself in a pickle here. I think I have to construct my own location now. Oh boy! Don't try this at home, kids. It's clearly not a good idea. So, yeah, I don't know why I don't do that consistently. I really want to do that consistently. Source ID is fine. Current character location is just going to be cur. Lexer current length is 1. So this, though, was for an unfinished. Ooh, we could move this to the top and increase its length. For an unfinished, or this is a warning, not an error. Ooh. Warn multi-line / comment. And we could just put it at the end of the line for now, but let's leave a to-do. We could track the total length of the comment and report it after, for example. Then we want to do the same thing that we just did here. We'll copy actually the entire thing, the comment included, for here, because we want to now report an unterminated, unfinished, we're just going to call it, that's easier to read, / comment. So if we're at the end of file, though, that might look or report funny. We're going to see what happens if we test that. It's going to break there. Determine standard compliant behavior, we don't know. Okay, so that should be diagnostics. I don't think we ever tested our first diagnostic, though, did we? If this builds, let's test it. It doesn't. Laye context issue diagnostic. Where did I do that? Did I not include it correctly? Oh, I deleted it. That's why. When we went to go test it, we found the error. So let's go back to driver and do some work. Test location there, and it's just gonna be context here. And we'll do a multi-line whatever comment as our test. So if I can find things, run the driver, source driver 111 multi-line comment. That looks good so far. We're gonna test this working on the source files that we try to lex next, I guess. But I mean, it looks fine here. So that's good. I'm going to actually go steal something real quick from one of my old libraries. I'm going to go into our util here, util header. And our util header is just going to be really nice to us. It's going to give us a bunch of ANSI color codes and stuff, and some console movement stuff as well. I don't think we're ever going to need this. I'm just going to remove it. Probably not going to need bold or underlined or reversed, but I'll keep those just in case, because bold might be nice to have, underlined might be nice to have, reversed, I don't know what that does. Let's go into the diagnostic printing here, and we're going to do something. The something that we're going to do is, do I do any other fancy coloring in here that I want to copy, or is it just, right, hold on. Oh, I can do something even simpler. Oh boy, I forgot I could do this. We're going to do this because I like this better. We're going to do it like that. Instead of having a whole function dedicated to getting the severity out of here, we're just going to do this. So let me do Laye sev count. And I'm just gonna use the same names. Internal compiler and sorry. That's right. I could do a sorry. We'll implement a sorry here just in case. When we get there, we'll get there. So info warning error, internal compiler error, sorry. Those are fun. These are the colors we're going to use, and now I don't have to use a diag.c for anything. We can just delete diag.c. Let's move this to here, mod s twice. We want the severity string and the severity color. Severity string, though, is now just going to be this stuff. It's going to be severity colors and severity names. Color first, and then we're going to want to color reset it, actually. And we can reset it manually by saying ANSI color reset, like that. So then severity colors of severity, as well as severity names of severity. And that, if I can go reintroduce the warning, actually, driver.c. Let's go reintroduce the warning, build, and now we have a yellow warning. If I change this to an error, then we can save the file, build and do it again. Error, multi-line comment. Cool, that's working just fine. Now we have slightly better diagnostic handling. Still a bit cumbersome, but hey, there's our Lexer entry point. We haven't really defined what's in a token yet. We're about to do that. How long have I been recording for? An hour. I could make this a really long episode, or I could go eat dinner. I might call it there and promise you tokens next time for the third time in a row. Third time? 0, 1, and 2? Yeah. I'll promise you tokens for the third time in a row. Tokens are coming in the next episode. I just can't be asked right now when I'm hungry and have been talking for an hour and I'm out of water. So, thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully this is fun to watch. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you want, join either of the Discords in the description. I'm linking to mine. It's pretty empty right now. We're trying to build up. Brand new. But also one of my friends who got me well into this kind of stuff. Not into, like, I don't know how to speak. I'm tired. I want food. A friend who also does compiler stuff inspired me to start recording stuff. Go check his Discord out too. His name's Lens. He's great. Go watch his series. I don't care if you're not here. I'm just doing this for fun. Yeah, I'm going to stop rambling. Thank you.